Good evening, everybody. First, we'll talk about Lungi Ngidi. He sustained sharp discomfort in his left hamstring after bowling the fourth over today. He came off, he was assessed, and clinically we felt that he had a left hamstring strain. We decided not to let him go out there and bowl any further in this match. So currently, it probably means that he'll be out for about a week to 10 days, but we'll have scans done tomorrow. The plan will be probably to get him ready for the West Indies match. The other person we need to talk about is Hashim Amla. As we all know, during the last match here, he sustained a blow to the helmet. When he came off the field, he was assessed. There were concussion assessment tests done, as well as various computerized assessments done. Initially, the results were what we call inconclusive or equivocal. Repeat tests were done about hour and 1.5 hours later, which were much clearer than the ones before, and that's why the decision was made to let him go out there and bat. Subsequent to the match, the next day, he felt some symptoms, and therefore, as a precaution, we decided to rest him from this game. The plan is to get him ready for the match against India on Wednesday in Southampton.
Any questions? Yes, Feroz?
Doc, sorry, just the one player you didn't mention was Dale Steyn. How's he going?
Yeah, Dale Steyn, as we said before we left South Africa, that it's very much watching his progress. Almost, the plan was always to try and get him ready for the India or the West Indies game. So he's making decent progress. So he's out there bowling right now. We'll make a call the day before the India game as to where he is currently.
Thank you very much. The floor is open for Faf du Plessis.
Yeah, Faf, I guess just if you can try and explain that. Obviously, a hell of a disappointing result for you guys.
Yeah, extremely disappointed. I mean, gutted to say that, you know, all formats of our game at the moment is just not firing. You know, to blame bad luck is not an option for me. You know, with Hash the previous game and Lungi today, I think you still have to find a way to make sure that you put in performances. And we are just off in most areas. We are doing some good things during games, but we're not putting it together over 80% of the time. Yeah, so that last 5 overs, I think, was crucial for them. I saw it towards the end of it. We were on the same pass score as them at 45, and to go for that many in the last 5 wasn't great. And then with the bat, once again, we looked good. We did some good things, but myself included, you know, you need to go through and score hundreds. That's what's going to win you matches, not 30s and 40s.
Hi, Faf. Ahead of the tournament, much was made of the opening attack, opening bowlers, how you're going to look to be really aggressive and kind of, you know, pepper the guys with bounces. How could you assess the way Lungi and Kagiso went today, and do you think that you weren't perhaps aggressive enough with your lengths?
Yeah, that was our plan. You know, our plan was to try and, in both the England game and this game, was to try and make sure that we target them, you know, with aggressive bowling. But you know, like I said, we weren't at our best. You know, the opening bowlers would be the first to put their hand up to say that we didn't execute on our skills today, and that went right through the innings. You know, I thought there was a lot of loose shots, especially on the cutting side today. There was a lot of width that was given. So. Yeah, but it's just the moment we're just off in all facets of it, and it's not good enough. And that's why any team in this World Cup can beat any team. It's just the way that it's set up today. Bangladesh batted really well. I have to give it to them. They took calculated risks. They batted. They paced the innings very, very good. They showed us how to set up a big score, and we did signs of it, but not for long enough. There was bigger partnerships in their camp. Yeah, and that's why they were 30 runs better than us today.
Faf, what did you learn about your team today, and what's the one thing you can do to begin to turn these defeats into wins?
Sure, great question. Look, it didn't go according to plan. We know we spoke a lot about, before the game, trying to be aggressive and using that first hour. And there was a lot of talk about the toss, what we wanted to do. Use our 4 seamers in pace that we wanted to do, but obviously then Lungi got injured and that changed completely. Now all of a sudden, as captain, I have to bowl, 15 to 20 overs of medium to slow or spin bowling, and then obviously then it changes completely. So then you need to bowl the team out in order to make sure that you don't have to chase a big score. But the nature of subcontinent teams is when they do get a big score on the board, they can squeeze you when they've got runs on the board, and that's exactly what happened. When they got 330, they were just a couple of wickets away from bossing the game. But I thought it was a really good wicket. I didn't think it changed that much. I just think that we weren't good enough in all three formats. They bowled good Yorkers towards the end. They showed us how to do that little 5-over period. And then in the middle, they have got some experience with Shakib. He was very good today, just bowling really good areas. We were close with the bat, but I do think 330 was about 20 runs too many.
Faf, how difficult it is, managing your team with so many injuries abounding by the day. How difficult does it get in a World Cup?
Yeah, any captain would say that it's not easy, but I mean, I can't complain about it. That's not going to change anything. I have to find a way. The coaching staff, the team has to find a way. It's not going for us in order from injuries point of view. As I said many times, our plan A was to have all our fast bowlers bowling at the same time, and then we do have a very good bowling attack. To lose one, then you become, okay bowling attack, and now to lose two, and then there's pressure on our bowling attack. So now it changes completely the dynamics of how we set our team up. It was never part of the plan, but that's life. You got to roll with the punches.
Faf, today in the middle overs of Bangladesh's innings, you guys looked flat in the field. This whole philosophy and psychological plan to say it's not the end of the world if we don't win the World Cup, can that have a negative effect? Do you guys care at all about how you come across?
I think that happens naturally when you are in a bad position in a game. I've played a lot of cricket, and every single team that I play for around the world, it's the same effect. Once a partnership starts developing, once that you find in the field that things are not going your way, the natural thing that happens to players is they fall off a little bit, their shoulders drop a little bit, their body language is not as strong. That's not this team. I promise you it happens in every single team, and there's always conversations around how long and how well you can keep doing that. But that's what happened today. Bangladesh batted and put our bowlers under pressure, and naturally I think the fielders were, Lungi's injury had an impact psychologically on some of the guys, even though they weren't thinking about it. So for us, the talking in the middle was still, make sure we start fighting here. We're 1 wicket away from restricting them to a good total. But naturally, I can speak as much about it from my point of view as I want, but it naturally happens to fielders, especially when they go towards the boundaries and there's not a lot of balls to go to them. That's a natural thing that happens when you're feeling under the pump as a team.
Faf, again, coming back to that plan A. Plan A seemed like a really good plan. 3 fast bowlers, pepper the guys. When that doesn't work, do you feel like your side is able to win cricket matches in other ways? Do you think there was an over-reliance on plan A? How many, did you have plan B, C, D, etc.? Yeah,
well, plan A is gone. It's gone because the plan A was those bowlers playing together. They haven't played a game together on this tour. Initially plan B was Anrich Norkieu, was an extra pace bowler that we had lined up for if we had an injury, to have another X-factor bowler that can bowl 145 plus. He got injured as well. So now you're moving into your all-rounder territory. You got 2 medium pace all-rounders, and then you got Chris Morris that's sits in between your fast bowlers and your medium pace bowlers. So now you have to, now we have to really look at what we can do to try and be effective. Is it playing all the all-rounders together? Do we play 2 spinners? Now it's reshuffling all our cards and see how best we can deal with it.
Yes.
Obviously, South Africa haven't got a great record in World Cups, but you've never started this badly. Do you think you still have a chance of winning it?
I have to believe that. I won't be South African if I said no. I would go back and try and see how we can lift the spirits in the team. We're playing a strong team in India in their first game and our third game. So as a team, we know we're not good enough at the moment, and we have to turn it around. It's not like international cricket is about there you go, there's a win for you. The World Cup is set up, strong teams, and we have to. We don't have a choice. We won't be going back and just falling over, I can promise you that.
Now the last few will be Telford, Lloyd, Kane and Feroz.
Faf, you came to this World Cup with a very different philosophy, I think, from previous South African teams, and it made perfect sense because some of the emphatic players are gone. Do you think when you do that, that there's a danger of a team forgetting who they are? And you know, if you're changing the branding or the DNA, do you think your team still know who they are?
Definitely. I mean, I don't think it's got anything to do with that. At the moment, it's a skill thing. Our skill is not where it needs to be. It's got absolutely nothing to do with, as I said, injuries. You can make excuses as many as you want. Every single player in our dressing room is not playing to their full potential, and that's why we're not putting the performance on. As soon as that starts happening, then those things will change. You know, every player in the team can say that. You know, none of us has been on top of a game yet. So it's just about making sure you look at yourself in the mirror and see how you can find that answer.
Lloyd?
Faf, do you think there will, just on the mindset, do you think there will be a change in the days leading up to India? Do you think there's a need for some harsh words in the dressing room?
There's
And there's also your message for the guys back home who were watching today and are obviously devastated by the results.
Well, there's always, certainly from, you know, my style of captaincy has always been, there's a line, and if you don't perform to that line, then there's a lot of harsh words. I'm certainly not Mr. Nice Guy. There's times for strictness, and there's times when you see that a dressing room needs you to be strong and to motivate them. And that was the previous game when we lost to England the way that we did. But now, today was not good enough. There's no, as I said, there's absolutely no excuses for me. So if guys think that they can make excuses for a performance like today, then they'll be challenged. That's a fact. And your second part was the fans. Yeah, I mean, I think the fans understand that what I'm saying now is that it's not good enough, so I'm not even going to try and make excuses. We're not playing to our full potential. You know, it was great to see South African fans in the last two games coming to the sport does. It makes me really proud to come and play. You know, that there's people coming here to support us. They're flying all the way, and it's expensive to come here. So you appreciate that, and you sit there and you think about it. But for us, I mean, the fans know that all I can say is that we'll keep fighting.
Feroz?
Faf, I just want to go back to your plans, A, B, and C. Just in terms of when do you start thinking about, like, if you get to a point where Dale Steyn just isn't ready, when will you have to start thinking about replacing people in the squad?
Sure, yeah, it's trickier because, you know, because our resources is slim. As I said, if there was an option to straight away put him in, if Heinrich was here, you could say, listen, Dale, it's getting to that time now where you need to play or we need to substitute you. But now we've got two or three. So do you send both? You know, do you send both back to get someone else in? That's the medical guru here will try and help us out with that. But it's Dale Steyn is still, if he's fit, he can still make a huge difference to our performance. And we need guys to make differences in this team. We don't, you know. So Dale is one of them. Lungi is also one of them. You know, Lungi will also be the first to say that he hasn't bowled to his full potential the last two games. Yeah, he's normally our best line and length bowler. So, you know, he worked hard on his fitness leading up to this game, but, you know, he's also had a lot of injuries over a short period of time now. So that makes, you know, got to challenge him to work harder, making sure that he gets his fitness up for longer. It's important for a young guy to play cricket over an extended period of time, not just to play a couple of games, break down a couple of games again.
Kane with the last one, please.
Faf, you came into this World Cup obviously with a lot of reliance on your pace bowlers and maybe using aggressive bowling, short pitch, that sort of thing, having succeeded on helpful pitches at home. Do you feel today that, obviously overs 35 to 45, you got yourselves back into a reasonable position, but then the last 5, it just seemed like there was a lot of short balls that were disappearing to the boundary. Do you feel you need to rethink that?
No, that wasn't the plan at all. The plan was the long boundary. So the plan for the bowlers, I know, was, to give yourself a lot of different options at the death. It was certainly not just to bowl short. I think pace off was what the bowlers actually tried more often than not because of the nature of the size of the square. But within that, you still need to make sure you know your Yorkers. And today we missed our Yorkers, and every time a bowler tried a Yorker, it went for 6. So I think then naturally what happens is you try and find your other skill, whether it's a short ball or a bouncer. Yeah, but there was a couple of opportunities there on the boundary that we possibly could have taken. I remember one ball going over KG's head there. There was a catch. You know, that was the in batter. Once again, it's just small little mistakes that we're making, which is giving the opportunity or giving the opposition more runs. Thank you.